Romance scams and how to identify and protect against them. Welcome to our romance scam awareness training. By the end of this training, you will understand romance scams and their operations, identify common tactics used by scammers, recognize red flags indicating potential scams, learn practical tips for self-protection. Here are key tactics and how to defend against them. Romance scams involve fraudsters pretending to be romantic partners. How to spot. Look for requests for money, urgent pleas, or mismatched details. Action. Never send money without verifying. Report suspicious profiles immediately. Scammers often use emotional manipulation to gain trust. How to defend. Be cautious of overly charming individuals. Action. Trust your instincts and verify their stories. Inconsistencies in stories often signal a scam. How to prevent. Research online connections thoroughly. Action. Don't ignore inconsistencies in their stories. Weak credentials can lead to easy exploitation by scammers. How to strengthen. Use unique passwords and enable two-factor authentication. Action. Avoid reusing passwords across different platforms. Engaging with unknown individuals can expose you to scams. How to stay safe. Avoid engaging with unknown profiles. Action. Always verify their identity before sharing personal information. Now let's evaluate our understanding with real-world scenarios. You receive a message from someone claiming to need money urgently. What should you do? Pause and check. Is their story consistent? Is there urgency? Your action should be: report the profile to the platform immediately. Imagine receiving a friend request with overly attractive photos. What should you do? Pause and analyze. Are their photos too perfect or generic? If the answer is yes, you should investigate further before engaging. Now let's recap on what you learned and what you need to remember. Stay alert and cautious when online. Trust your instincts if something feels off. Research individuals before forming connections. Engage with red flag bingo to reinforce learning and stay alert to potential scams. Thank you for participating in our romance scam awareness training. Welcome to the training on Cyber Guardians, the Digital Defenders.
All right, sorry about that. Let me get that situated. Can you guys hear me? I'm trying to work with the sound. Is everything good with the sound? Let me know if you guys can't hear me or if something's going on. But I appreciate you guys. I'm going to continue on as if everything's going good. Everything looks good on my end. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is another episode of Black and Blue. This is the podcast is just for you. We go live weekly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when we go live with a law enforcement officer or a first responder, and we talk about their trainings, experiences, and their publication. This time, we're going to go live with a couple of recorded interviews that we had over the past couple days, talking about cybersecurity and cybercrime. We can hear. All right, perfect. All right, good. I'm glad that you guys are here. This is the podcast where we go live at 7 p.m. And when we go live, we're on 5 different platforms. I believe 5, maybe even 7. But I know we're on a few on Facebook. We're on 2 on YouTube. We're on 1 on LinkedIn. And they're under the names of Coach Clee, Clark Tent, Black and Blue, Clee Tillman. And so if you haven't subscribed to them, make sure you subscribe to them as well. We put different information goes on various platforms, and this live does also get uploaded on Spotify as well. So if you haven't subscribed to Spotify, then make sure you do that. But got to introduce myself. I'm your host. I'm your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker. I'm Coach Clee coming at you. I am Ecclesiastics 302, the Crimes Code 302. I'm the coldest code switching detective, and my name is spelled CLEE, which stands for Continuing Law Enforcement Edutainment, because we entertain and we educate while we're on here. We're not going to fall short today. I got a great show lined up for you guys today. Going to have a bunch of good information shared about cybersecurity and the things that is going on with it. I got to attend the BSides annual cyber conference last week, and it was tremendous. It was an eye-opening experience for me. I had a good time. I learned a lot of things. We talked at the convention. I got to interview and see Matt Dotz, he's been a guest on the show before. Jess Hoffman, Danny and Adamitis. I didn't get to interview them. I got to record them while they were doing their speeches on stage. Danny and Adamitis. Correction. Ryan English, Kayla Undercuffler, and Mike Miller, just to name a few that I got to sit in on those talks. And today we're going to talk about, the facts and stats on cybersecurity IC3 report. The tip of the day, we're going to talk about some awareness tips. Sergeant Be Safe is going to come in here and talk about some things, and then we're going to finish it up with the ops plan. The ops plan, we're going to finalize it there. But, this platform is sponsored by One Way Publishing. One Way Publishing brings you the Sergeant Be Safe cartoon that you saw in the beginning of this. It brings you a couple more Sergeant Be Safes that we'll see throughout this, but it sponsors this platform, Black and Blue. The podcast is just for you. It's also a publishing company, a book publishing company where I got to write my 5 books. You see a few of them behind me now. Those books, and also some of their clients got to use their services to get their books published. Their motto is they can turn a mere thought into a book that's bought. So if you ever wanted to write your own hey, I'm twisted all over today. If you ever wanted to get your own book published, whether it was fiction, nonfiction, comic book, cookbook, self-explainer, whatever it may be, One Way Publishing can get that thing done for you. The website is workwithclee.com. It's in the comment section. It'll also be in the description box. All right. I'm kind of going through it because I want to get through to it. We got a lot of information to cover, and I'm excited to be here, and I want to get that information to you as fast as we can. But I hope everyone's doing well. My bad. It was on my. I understand. Clee, I don't have any sound, but I see I got you. All right, there we go. Cool. Got it up here. Perfect. Glad to see. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want that shout out that you're looking for, make sure you put your name in and where you're from in the comment section. We'll give you that shout out that you're looking for. Also, since it's not a live interview per se, if you do have a comment, put that in the comment section and it will be addressed at an appropriate time as well. All right. So we're talking about today's show is the Cyber Showdown, and are the good guys, are the cops, losing the battle against cyber crimes? And that's a very good question, because we're going to dig into some information on why that's a very good question. When you think of crime, you think of, at least coming up, burglaries, robberies, thefts, retail thefts, and those are still crimes. But now it's more lucrative actually to be online and committing crimes because it's a lot more hurdles involved. It's the bad guys are all, you know how it is, always a few steps ahead, and so therefore they have time to evolve and develop. And we've all gotten those lottery phone calls or with those toll booth running emails or text messages saying that we ran the toll booth and we need to click this link and contact that person, or the romance scam like you saw in the beginning. Scams are evolving. They're getting better. Before, they would come in looking like an email and you could tell it was a scam. But other times it would be a phone call on it. This is why some of the reason people got rid of landlines, house phones, because a phone call would come in, there'd be a long pause, and there'd be a bunch of automatic robotic kind of talking. Now they have your cell phone. Now they can contact you. Rich Oakley, Commonwealth of Virginia, I see. Yep, thank you for tuning in, Rich. I appreciate it. But you see how it's evolved, and the way it's evolved, it's becoming more dynamic. It's becoming very difficult to determine what is truth and what is not. Your cell phones actually show that you could be getting a phone call from a potential scammer, but sometimes it's actually the real deal, but it's still labeled that way. But I would still confirm, don't take it just by the cell phone, what the cell phone's saying to you or showing to you when the caller's calling. Also, you gotten phone calls from a bank or some sort of institution or email, and they actually have the credentials up there. So you got to be wary about that, because they're going to ask you for your pertinent information, account number, routing number, social security number, things like that. And they're trying to go undetected to the point where they're trying to mimic you or already have your login credentials. So therefore, oftentimes you may not even know that you've been compromised. But we're going to get into all that here because we're going to be talking about our cops keeping up with it. And this is a current trend, and we got to keep up with the times. All right, I gave you the rundown. We're going to jump right into it. What do we have up here first? The first part of the lineup here, we got facts and stats. Facts and stats. All right, like I said, see if I can put this up here on the screen for you guys. The IC3 report came out this recently, and shout out to Matt Dots. I got this from your newsletter. If you haven't subscribed to his newsletter, it's Threats Without Borders. The subscription will be in the description box at the end of this as well. But he gives a lot of good information. So a lot of information that's going to be on this podcast is relevant from that literature right there that he put out. Let me get this here. How do I do this right there? Perfect. I don't want that screen. Why isn't this? There we go. All right. I know that's going to be a little hard to see, but we're going to get through it. All right. So this is from the 2024 IC3 annual report. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, or IC3. Originally intended to serve the law enforcement community, IC3 has evolved to become the primary destination for the public to report cyber-ended crime and fraud, as well as a key source for information or scams or cyber threats. Since its founding, IC3 has received over 9 million complaints of malicious activity. During its infancy, IC3 received roughly 2,000 complaints, 2,000 every month. For the past 5 years, IC3 has averaged more than 2,000 complaints a day. As nearly all aspects of our lives have become digitally connected, the attack surface for cyber actors has grown exponentially. Scammers are increasingly using the internet to steal Americans' hard-earned savings, and with today's technology, it could take mere taps of a keyboard to hijack networks, cripple water systems, or even rob virtual exchanges. Cryptocurrency has become an enticing means to cheat investors, launder proceeds, and engage in other illicit schemes. Last year, we saw a new record for losses reported to IC3, totaling a staggering $16.6 billion. Fraud represents the bulk of reported losses in 2024, and ransomware was again the most pervasive threat to the critical infrastructure, with complaints rising 9% from 2023. As a group, those over the age of 60 have suffered the most. Yeah, the elderly, the most losses, and submitted the most complaints. These rising losses are even more concerning because last year the FBI took significant action to make it harder and more costly for malicious actors to succeed. We dealt a serious blow to Lockbit, one of the world's most active ransomware groups since 2022. We have offered up thousands of decryption keys to victims of ransomware, avoiding over 800 million payments. Also in 2024, we worked proactively to prevent losses and minimize victims of their hard-earned private sector collaborations and incentives like Operation Level Up. We've disbanded fraud and laundering syndicates, shut down scam call centers, shuttered illicit marketplaces, dissolved nefarious botnets, and put hundreds of other actors behind bars. Our partnerships across the intelligence, law enforcement, and private sector communities have never been stronger. The criminals America's face today may look different than in our past, but they still want the same thing: to harm Americans of their own benefit. This brings me back to the IC3 quarter-century milestone. While the top threats facing our country have been certainly shifted over the decades, protecting American citizens, whether it means safety, your money, your data, remains the cornerstones of the FBI's mission. And in the fight against increasingly savvy criminals, the FBI also relies on you. Without the information you report to us in the IC3, your local FBI field, we simply cannot piece together the puzzle of this ever-shifting threat landscape. If you ever suspect you're a victim of cybercrime or cyber-enabled crime, please do not hesitate to give us a call. We want to be there for you, and the report will help us and others. This comes from B. Chad Yarborough, who is the operations director for criminal and cyber for the Federal Bureau of Investigations. All right. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to show you guys some numbers here. This is stats from 2024. Total number of complaints. You see that number right there. 800,059. You know, I'm around it. Total losses in 2024, 16.6 billion. Increase from losses, a 33% increase. About 250,000 complaints with actual loss, and the average loss is about $20,000. All right. I mean, that's just ridiculous, really. The role of combating cyber crimes, you know, it gives this little half wheel right here. Perform analysis, provide a central hub to alert the public, partner with private sector, host a remote access database, host a portal where the public can report, you know, basically the IC3. And the IC3 website is ic3.gov. I'll make sure that's also going to be in the description box, but I'll make sure it's in the comment section. I'll do that now, actually, so you guys have it. ic3.gov, ic3.gov. All right, there we have it. Let me get this back up here. Get this down. And continuing on, bear with me. This is good information to share. This is, guys, when I saw this, I thought it was staggering. Complaints by age groups. Under 20, you see the numbers right there, about 17,000. 20 to 29, 71,000. A total of about 540 million. I'm sorry. 30 to 39, about 108,000, $1.4 billion in losses. 40 to I'm sorry, the previous one was 30 to 39. This one's 40 to 49. This looks like 112 complaints with $2.2 billion. Then you have the age group 50 to 59. This looks like 84,000 complaints with $2.5 billion. Then you got 60 and up, which looks like over 147 rounded down complaints with $4.8 billion in losses. Now, if that doesn't make you mad, I don't know what will. That means money, your hard-earned money, just going out the way. All right. And the types of crime, you got phishing, spoofing, extortion, personal data breach, non-payment, investment, tech support, business, email compromise, identity theft, employment, confidence, romance schemes like we saw in the beginning, government impersonation, credit card fraud, and the others, harassment, stalking, real estate, advance fee, crimes against children, lottery, sweepstakes, data breach, ransomware, overpayment, IPR, threats of violence, SIM swap, botnet, and malware. I mean, it goes on and on. And that just shows that you can see the call centers. That gives the trends. It shows the complaints. It shows $13.7 billion in losses. It's just showing that the numbers are going up and up and up. And you see right there, you got collections, analysis, public awareness, and referrals. And you guys can take a look at the report yourselves. That's just the gist of it. But it shows how important cybercrime is and how we need to evolve and get better at it. For one, because we're losing billions and billions of dollars, and it's only rising. It's rising more than a 0.25% just from last year in and of itself. But we're gonna move on from the facts and stats right there. We're gonna go to a little. We got a story time. What story time do we have? Yeah. So let me explain one more thing here. Minimize this screen, maximize that one, leave that up there. As you see, a Disney employee gets 3 years of imprisonment for hacking and changing menus. Again, thank you, Matt Dotz, for this story. I'll let you know about this story. And it's just a shame that how easy this could happen. Disney employee gets 3 years in prison for hacking and changing menus. Shore worked as a menu production manager for Disney and was fired last June for misconduct. A former Disney employee who hacked into the company's servers to alter restaurant menus, including falsifying allergens information and printing profane language, has been sentenced to 3 years in prison. Michael Shore, a Florida resident who was sentenced last week in federal court and ordered to pay nearly $69 million in restitution, with most of it $690 million. Wow. And most of it going to Disney. He pled guilty in January to 1 count of computer fraud and 1 count of aggravated identity theft. Shore remains remorseful and apologetic to his former co-workers. We're grateful that the judge heard all the arguments and the mitigation when fashioning a sentence that was half what the government was seeking, said David Haas, Shore's lawyer, in a statement to CNN. Shore worked as a menu production manager for Disney and was fired last June for misconduct, according to the original complaint. He has access to and also used secure internal servers for creating and publishing menus for all of Disney's restaurants, and as part of his job at the company. However, Disney advised and identified and removed the altered menus before they were shipped to restaurants. The company did not immediately respond to CNN's request for comment. Shore hacked into the Disney menus creation servers multiple times to manipulate and disrupt the menus, such as changing prices or adding profane language. He then made changes to the menus to threaten public health and safety. The complaint said, including altering allergen information to indicate menu items with peanuts were peanut-free, posing a risk to those with peanut allergies. Exactly. Disney employees discovered the disruption and Shore altered the menu text fonts to become icon symbols known as wingdings. The change was so substantial that it caused the menu creator system to become inoperable, and the font changes were made to all the menus. The complainant said Disney was also forced to make a menu creator application offline while they reverted to the backups to regain ability to operate. The Department of Justice said in a press release last week, computer intrusions also included altering menus, menu information related to wine regions, and reflect locations of recent mass shootings. Wow. Let me read that again. The Department of Justice said in a press release last week that computer intrusions also included altering menu information related to wine regions to include locations of recent mass shootings. Additionally, Shore allegedly disabled employee accounts during his hacking campaign. he locked out at least 14 Disney employees out of their accounts by continually attempting to log into their credentials with incorrect passwords. He also used a bot to attempt over 100,000 logins to their accounts, rendering them unusable. So that was story time, and I'm just saying that one was caught. Let's just say hypothetical that one turned out a totally different way, as if he did change the allergens that were on the menu with the profane language and things like that. So someone who does have a peanut allergy or allergic to whatever may be in the substance that they're ordering, and they think they're ordering something desirable and they're not, and then they get the allergy that they don't even know what's going on. By the time they get to the hospital, something fatal could happen. This is loss of life, something serious, just off of someone being pissed off and changing the menu because they were unfortunately let go for whatever reason, more than likely because of conduct, just because, I mean, you can see that just from that. So that's just something that was caught. That's something that was able to be remedied and rectified. That still cost the business a lot of money, still had to find ways to come around it, but it's still, thank you, Seti P. Good evening to you too. But it still was a way that someone could get a leg up on a business. So just think about how cyber crimes are very intrusive and can be very manipulative and costly. But Sergeant Be Safe right here, we're going to bring it up. We're going to go to a Sergeant Be Safe video. Sergeant Be Safe and his crew, Officer Stiletta Steele, will be explaining some more things on cybercrime. Stand by.
Welcome to the training on Cyber Guardians, the digital defenders. Are you ready to protect our digital community? In this training, we'll guide you through the essential steps to safeguard data in law enforcement, empowering you to combat cyber threats effectively. By the end of this training, you will understand cybersecurity fundamentals, recognize cyber threats, implement defense strategies, collaborate across agencies, conduct cyber investigations, navigate legal considerations, and utilize cyber resources. Let's dive into the steps of cybersecurity training. Start with Sergeant B explaining how cybercrime is rising as Chance Wilder steals information for profit. Hook the audience with engaging scenarios that highlight cybersecurity's importance in law enforcement. Define key cybersecurity terms to create a shared understanding among viewers. Let's see how this works in practice. The FBI Cyber Crimes Division tracks down hackers behind a data breach, showcasing their techniques and teamwork. Officers collaborate with other agencies to apprehend the criminals. A local agency responds to a ransomware attack, detailing actions taken to secure data and restore systems. They work swiftly to protect community resources. Officers conduct a sting operation, posing as buyers to catch online fraudsters scamming victims. They successfully dismantle the fraudulent network. A police department partners with InfraGard to prevent a cyber attack on critical infrastructure, demonstrating public-private collaboration. Their joint efforts ensure community safety. An officer completes the Cyber Investigator Certification Program, applying skills to solve an identity theft case. This enhances their agency's investigation capabilities. A state fusion center shares threat intelligence among agencies to thwart a planned cyber attack. Collaboration proves vital in protecting multiple municipalities. A multi-agency task force dismantles an online child exploitation ring through coordinated investigations. Their undercover operations lead to significant arrests. To recap, cybersecurity is everyone's duty. Stay informed about cyber threats. Collaboration enhances response efficiency. Ongoing training is crucial. Utilize available resources effectively. Data protection builds public trust. Adaptability is key in cybersecurity. Now it's your turn. Join the cyber defense movement. Stay vigilant, share knowledge, and collaborate with colleagues to outsmart cyber criminals. We hope this guide empowers you to enhance cybersecurity practices and protect our communities.
And thank you, officers, to let us deal with your crew. You got to see Sergeant Be Safe, and that was just a tip of the day to get you on your way. Just a little highlight on cybersecurity and some of the awareness things. You got to see SWAT Officer Clay Moore. I think the Major Payne was in there. You got to see Captain Chaos and his K9. So you got to see the whole crew, but it's also an explainer there. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're going to move on to awareness. We got cyber awareness. This one right here is going to be the one that breaks it down. And it's also a transition. So if you're in law enforcement or you're a first responder and you're looking for something to transition to, that you've got the skills as far as law enforcement investigations, interactive skills, interpersonal skills, and where the transition, how this can be useful going into this next field. So here's a little bit of awareness right coming up right now.
Security is no longer just a concern for tech companies. It is a vital issue for law enforcement agencies around the world. As technology continues to evolve, so do the threats that come with it. Law enforcement must adopt robust cybersecurity measures to protect sensitive information and combat cybercrime effectively. The integration of cybersecurity into law enforcement enhances public safety and builds trust in the community. One important aspect of cybersecurity in law enforcement is the protection of agency infrastructure. Law enforcement agencies are often targets for cyber attacks, which can compromise critical systems and sensitive data. For example, the implementation of firewalls and intrusion detection systems can significantly reduce the risk of unauthorized access. By securing their networks, agencies not only protect their information, but also ensure that they can effectively serve the public without disruption. Investigating cybercrime is another crucial role that law enforcement agencies must play. Cybercrimes such as identity theft and online fraud are on the rise, and it is essential for law enforcement to have the skills to identify and apprehend offenders. The FBI's Cybercrimes Division is a prime example of how law enforcement actively investigates these threats. This division works tirelessly to track down cybercriminals and bring them to justice, showcasing the importance of specialized training and resources in this field. Collaboration and information sharing among agencies are vital for addressing cyber threats. By working together, law enforcement organizations can share knowledge about emerging threats and best practices. Initiatives like the Law Enforcement Cyber Center, LECC, provide resources that help agencies learn from each other and solve cybercrimes more effectively. This cooperation not only strengthens individual agencies, but also creates a united front against cyber threats. Training and education are essential for law enforcement personnel to stay updated on the latest cybersecurity practices. Programs such as the Cyber Investigator Certification Program, CICP, enhance the skills of law enforcement officers, equipping them to handle cyber incidents with confidence. With proper training, personnel can respond more effectively to cyber emergencies and reduce the impact of attacks on their communities. Data security is another critical aspect of law enforcement's cybersecurity efforts. Agencies handle sensitive information that must be protected from breaches. Compliance with regulations and strong security measures are necessary to maintain public trust. For instance, local police departments must ensure that their data protection practices are up to par, as any breach could lead to a loss of public confidence. In conclusion, cybersecurity is an emerging challenge that law enforcement agencies must address to protect their infrastructure, investigate cybercrimes, and maintain public trust. By implementing robust security measures, collaborating with other agencies, and investing in training, law enforcement can effectively combat cyber threats. The partnership between agencies like the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and organizations like the International Association of Chiefs of Police can further strengthen these efforts. The call to action is clear. Law enforcement must prioritize cybersecurity to create a safer environment for all. Law enforcement skills can be effectively transferred to the field of cybersecurity, creating new opportunities for professionals looking to switch careers or enhance their current roles. The increasing demand for cybersecurity experts reflects the importance of protecting sensitive information and critical systems in today's digital world. With the potential for lucrative salaries, transitioning into cybersecurity can be an attractive option for law enforcement personnel. One of the primary skills that law enforcement officers bring to cybersecurity is investigative expertise. Both fields require strong analytical thinking and problem-solving abilities. Law enforcement professionals are trained to gather evidence, analyze data, and assess threats, all of which are essential skills in the cybersecurity world. For instance, understanding how to investigate cybercrimes such as identity theft or data breaches allows former law enforcement officers to excel in roles focused on threat detection and response. Additionally, law enforcement training in crisis management and decision-making under pressure is highly relevant to cybersecurity. Cyber incidents often require immediate action and effective communication among team members. The ability to stay calm and make quick decisions in high-stress situations can greatly benefit cybersecurity teams dealing with potential breaches or attacks. This skill set not only enhances individual performance, but also contributes to a more efficient response to cyber threats. Moreover, cybersecurity professionals who have a background in law enforcement can leverage their knowledge of legal frameworks and regulations. Understanding compliance requirements and legal implications is crucial in both fields. For example, familiarity with laws related to digital privacy and security can help organizations navigate the complex landscape of cybersecurity regulations. This expertise can also lead to higher-paying positions, as organizations increasingly seek professionals who can ensure compliance while protecting their assets. The financial rewards associated with a career in cybersecurity can be significant. While reaching a salary of $500,000 a year is not common, it is achievable for those in specialized roles or leadership positions. Chief Information Security Officers, CISOs, and senior security leaders, for example, often command high salaries, particularly in industries like finance or technology. These roles require extensive experience and expertise, making them ideal for individuals who can successfully transition from law enforcement to cybersecurity. Freelancing and entrepreneurial opportunities in cybersecurity also present a path to high earnings. Bug bounty hunters and cybersecurity consultants can earn substantial amounts by providing specialized services or identifying vulnerabilities in systems. With the right skills and a proactive approach, law enforcement professionals can enter these fields and capitalize on their investigative backgrounds to achieve financial success. In conclusion, the skills acquired in law enforcement can be effectively transferred to the cybersecurity field, opening doors to new career paths and financial opportunities. Investigative expertise, crisis management, and knowledge of legal frameworks are all valuable assets that can lead to success in cybersecurity. With the potential for high salaries, especially in leadership roles or entrepreneurial ventures, transitioning into cybersecurity can be a rewarding choice for those looking to leverage their existing skills in a growing industry. The combination of experience and dedication can lead to a fulfilling and prosperous career in this vital area of modern society.
See, and there you have it right there. A little bit of awareness for you. So remember all the quiet quitting, and remember during 2020 and COVID and all that, when officers were retiring in droves and leaving departments and things like that, and not knowing how those skills can be transferred. That's just one way. I like to get out to my retiree guys or guys that kind of had a little bit of burnout, give them hope, give them options, let them know that, the skills that you honed and use are very valuable. You have no idea how valuable most of them are. Transitioning into something that is in still investigations, using these skills to fight crime and it's a high crime, high payout of a crime, where they're getting billions of dollars a year, and it's only going up. So therefore, those guys, if you're interested in looking for it, there you have it. But I'm going to shift over a little bit. I'm going to get to the ops plan of the portion of the podcast, because I'm giving out good information. I hope you guys are digesting it. I hope you're having a good time. But like I said, I got to attend the BSides of Harrisburg annual conference event, not in the near past, and it was amazing. Sitting there listening to the terms, it's not really my field of expertise or my world, but it was very interesting. And to listen to some of the speakers, I got to hear their thought process, hear their views, hear their businesses, and see how it's being implemented in the future. So I'm going to give you a little snippet of a few of them, and then we're going to jump into, again, Matt Dotz. He gave us an interview on things to look out for. He's retired law enforcement, so he gave some good insight. Then Jess Hoffman, who's also worked with first responders because of incidents that have gone on in her world. Wonderful summation of what's going on out there. So if you wanted to know what the transition was like, just understand this. But we're going to jump first to who do I have up first for this ops plan? I got Danny Adamitis and Ryan English here, about a little minute snippet here. Just check this out.
For BSides, this is awesome, because that tells me that many of you probably have who's got less than 5 years in the cybersecurity field.
Excellent. This call is mainly for you, but it's for everybody, obviously. But we kind of want to be important because the tides are changing and things are shifting in terms of what you need to protect in your enterprise. The methods that attackers are using are starting to change over the last 6 or 7 years. We're still using some principles and tools that were forged by some of the elements that ended in the 2010s, or even before that. And we're going to talk about why that might not be a great idea a little bit here.
There might be some shortcomings.
There can be some shortcomings. We're going to identify some of those and try to get you thinking a little bit farther down the road for what's possibly going to happen to you next. To us. It's all from all of us. So the time was burning a bit ago because of the bell. Maybe you guys can bail by this point. Let's teach you Sylvia.
Here, so bring in the go tack. Sorry. Next slide. So we both work for this wonderful company called Limit Technologies. If you're watching, can you?
And that was a quick rundown. Make sure if you haven't checked their page out or their business, check them out. They gave a good presentation. They were the keynote speakers. But we're going to transition on to a lady I found interesting. Her talk, her conference her talk up on stage was pretty dynamic. She was a good speaker and gave good information. We got Kayla Undercuffler here.
I'm a student. I'm a mother of two. I'm a vulnerability management nerd. It's my jam. I'm a public speaker, I'm a creator connector, and I'm a homestead wannabe. And if any of you heard my intro from last year, I am still a wannabe. I have not graduated yet to like chickens or anything. So, but I'm all those things and more. And most of all, I'm really excited to be here today talking about citizen development. So our journey here, we're going to talk a little bit about shift left, and then we're going to get into citizen development, a little bit about what that is, who is involved in that group. We're going to talk about the security risks that are introduced through citizen development, and then how we actually drive down risk, we actually reduce risk in these environments. So starting at the very top, I love the shift left topic. It's one of those hate to love, love to hate subjects. We still see so much talk about like shift left is dead, no it's not, it's making a comeback. It certainly can be polarizing at times. So for the purposes of this talk, my definition of shift left is identifying vulnerabilities earlier in the software development lifecycle in order to prevent vulnerabilities in the production environment. That's the goal of shift left. There's been two main methodologies we've taken to accomplish shift left, or to even
And there it is. Thank you for the talk that you gave up on stage. Just some ideas, just some different things that are evolving, different things that are coming down, things that you may not even be aware of. Thank you, Kayla, for sharing that. Make sure you guys check her out either on LinkedIn or find her on, Google it and see what's going on. But another good opportunity to just see the evolution of cybercrime, cybersecurity, and things like that. But this one, Mike Miller, where he talks about you guys know, connections and networking. Your net worth is your network. This class was phenomenal as well, and we got to sit in on this for a little while. Got a little snippet.
And as she said, please interrupt me. I actually, when I do this, I love being interrupted. It just shows me, engagement that I'm on 20 minutes sleep. Except, dude, don't interrupt me. One better head. But anyhow, my name is Mike Miller. Today we're going to be talking about the power of networking, specifically for your IT career. So before we get too far into it, I figured I would break the ice a little bit, tell you about myself. Professionally, I've been in the field for about 25, I say plus years. I don't like to show just how old I am, so I stopped at 25, just put a plus on it. I've been in tech/cybersecurity for a good while, which we'll talk about here. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. I started in desktop support, which many of you may have started that same way. Years back, and I founded a very small cybersecurity firm. And today I work as a CISO and also help with business development. On the personal side, also a student instructor, so I do that for fun. Anything around the lawn, rolling water skis, scuba diving, that's me. My dream someday is to maybe make the pro pickleball circuit, but I'll tell you I'm nowhere close to that. But I eat my hamburgers plain. If I go somewhere to a restaurant, I ask for a hamburger. They always bring out tomatoes, onions, lettuce. I take it all off like a big baby. That's how I eat my hamburgers. Just a big bottle of ketchup. The last thing is, I'm a recovering sweet tea addict. I'm about 120 days clean. Something I really struggle with, so I'm trying to do better there.
Yep, and that was the intro, so kind of got a little off topic, but he was a good speaker again, gave good information. I couldn't get into the meat and potatoes. I didn't want to be a distraction while he was talking about that stuff, but you guys can look that up as well and see how good, why networking is good and why it is in the IT field, not only the IT field, but for cybersecurity. But no stranger to the show. Thank you, Matt. I got to see him today, actually, this morning, but he's here again. His newsletter that comes out every Tuesday, Threats Without Borders. It drops. Make sure if you haven't subscribed to it, make sure you subscribe to it. The link will be in the description box, but let's see what he has to say here. But I'm here with Matt Dodds. Matt, again, he's no former stranger to the show. Matt, thank you for making yourself available for the interview. Can you explain to us, we're here for the conference at BSides. Can you explain what BSides is in your own words?
Yeah, sure. So the BSides series of conferences started in Las Vegas. There's a very, very popular hacker conference, and people who didn't get invited to do talks at that one way back in the day started their own little side conference, and they called it BSides, like the B side of the tape, right? So that's where it started. It's a grassroots effort all over the nation now, and cities everywhere you will find these local B-side security conferences. So it's basically grassroots cybersecurity, focuses on bringing together first-time speakers, student speakers, underrepresented people who normally wouldn't have a chance to speak at a conference like this, and gives them a platform. And then, there's a lot of also experienced speakers thrown in just to mix it up and add some value. And it's a great event.
Gotcha. And so, so far, what kind of topics are covered? Cybersecurity and things along those lines. Can you touch on a little bit of some of those topics?
Yeah, sure. It's cybersecurity heavy. A lot of protecting your networks, protecting applications. AppSec is a big deal. So it's not so much, for most of us, we think of law enforcement, and that would be more of like cyber crime. This is more like actually protecting the resources, the network of a business or an organization.
Gotcha. And if someone was coming from either the first responder or law enforcement community, how could they apply this training or these talking points to their actual career, or actually develop it into the current mainstay for law enforcement?
Well, the most immediate application would be if a business or an organization in your jurisdiction was victimized and you have to respond, you would understand a little bit what they are talking about. So, when they say that they had a network intrusion and the VPN was abused, something like that, you would have some knowledge of what it is they're talking about.
Okay. And the upcoming conference that you shared with me as well, can you explain what that is?
Sure, that is the Keystone Connection Conference. That's through the IAFCI, the International Association of Financial Crime Investigators. We have 2 chapters in Pennsylvania, the Delaware Valley chapter and then the Pittsburgh Metro chapter. And every year we come together and have one big training conference. It's a 3-day event this year in State College. I think the website is KeystoneConnectionConference.com that you can find, and maybe you'll link it. But it's 3 days training on one night and then 2 days, and a lot of entertainment and networking. And networking is the best part. You'll meet investigators and financial crime investigators from financial institutions from all over Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. Great resource to make connections.
Gotcha. And so since that one would be for more first responders and law enforcement, other than making connections, what kind of information would they be able to learn or apply?
Yes, so it is fraud investigation heavy. So financial crime, fraud investigation, fraud prevention. So that it's more geared towards that rather than strictly cybersecurity. You will get some cybersecurity information there, but it is very fraud investigation heavy with a focus on the investigation aspect.
Gotcha. And those who are transitioning from one point of law enforcement and getting into some sort of security or private sector security, how can they benefit?
Yeah, networking is the best thing, right? Studies show that you can do it, but it's rare just to submit your application in for a job and someone's going to see it and hire you. Networking is where it's at. So coming to these events, making connections, getting to know people, meeting people, that's how you eventually work your way out of law enforcement.
Gotcha. And so coming to these events, I know you're very experienced and you're 100% in this world. What's your favorite part of these events?
Meeting people. I've met all kinds of people today. I'm a volunteer here today, so I'm an MC in one of the rooms where we're having the talks. So I get to meet everybody, and that's the best thing. Just getting to network. It helps you so much. It's like, hey, I have a problem. I know who to call because I met somebody. You get names, information, and share on LinkedIn credentials or network here on LinkedIn. That's the best part.
Gotcha. And I read your newsletter every Tuesday. Just for those who may not have seen the original interview or know who you are, can you give us a little background and foundation of who you are and things that you do?
Yeah, sure. So retired from law enforcement, now in the cybersecurity space, particularly heavy in cybercrime investigation. I write a weekly newsletter called Threats Without Borders. threatswithoutborders.com. It's on the Substack network, and you can subscribe. It comes out every Tuesday for over 4 years. I've never missed a Tuesday, and it has all kinds of investigation news, tips. Sometimes it's just pure nonsense that I write, but whatever comes to my head that particular week, and I share a lot of updates, and people come and people go, but it's something I do every Tuesday.
Yeah, and I look forward to them every Tuesday. I ever since I found out about them, I've been reading them, and I think it's good information. So thank you for doing that.
Yep, sure.
And in conclusion, is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
No, like all of these community events, like come out and get involved. It's not natural for police officers or for law enforcement to come out into these events. We're a very closed community, but if you want to leave law enforcement, this is where you come to. Like, you have to come get involved, you have to make connections, and you have to network.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for everything, Matt. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
And we're looking forward to the rest of the conference here for the remainder of the day. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for coming out.
All right. And I don't think his newsletters are nonsense. Like he said, sometimes nonsense. I think they're all very beneficial. And so make sure you subscribe to that. And Keystone Connections Conference, I already put that in the comment section. I should show up on most of the platforms. It's not on the description page on YouTube, but I'll put that on at once his live is over, once his interview is over. But circling back, there he is right there. That guy does sound pretty smart. Absolutely. Gave some good information. Thank you. Thanks again, Matt. This one, I'm telling you, this podcast right here was a lot of the information that was in your last newsletter. So I thank you for that information, and thank you for sharing that. I was able to put that on here. But circling back, we got Jess Hoffman gonna round up the corner here and explain different aspects of what she does as far as cybersecurity, and how she has partnered with some law enforcement or first responder or some community services that are needed agencies to get some jobs done, things you wouldn't naturally think about or first come to mind. So here she is. Stand by. Stay tuned.
And we're on. Jess, thank you for making yourself available. Can you tell us a little bit about what BSides is for those that may not know?
Sure. Well, thanks for coming, Clee. It's always great to see you. We're here at BSides Harrisburg. This is our third annual event. It's a cyber community conference that's for the community, by the community. So no sales stuff. We're all about, coming together to not just network, but also those relationships we were talking about in the last session. There's a lot of things that go wrong in tech, a lot of things that go wrong in cyber. So it's really important that we learn from each other's mistakes. And, that's what this conference is about.
Gotcha. And can you explain what your role is with this conference?
Sure. I am one of the organizers. This is my second year organizing. So they like to say I bring the bag. So I like to get all the money. But, as far as there's a lot of different roles within this organization. We get sponsorship to our nonprofit. So, everything we get and all the things that we do is based on the amount of money that we're raising. So, shout out to our sponsors for that. We have somebody who does the socials and all that good stuff, but a lot of my job is to help with the sponsorship, spreading the good word about the conference. I got the speaker, the keynote. I picked him up at DEF CON, which is pretty cool. So, bringing all that to Central PA, because Central PA isn't necessarily thought of as like a tech hub, let alone a cybersecurity hub. I know we have the tech council here, but this being my hometown, I'm really excited to have met up with some local cybersecurity folks, and I joined the team to expand the mission here. And we got people from DMV, I brought the Philly people, Pittsburgh, Jersey, New York's here. My buddy's out here from New York. You know what I mean? So it's just really cool that we're able to get everybody together here in Harrisburg.
Gotcha. And some of the sessions, we got to sit in some of the breakout sessions. What kind of topics were discussed throughout this conference?
We covered quite a bit. I mean, our keynote was about the threat landscape that's going on, which has changed based on the evolution of technology, right? I mean, not so long ago, you probably had a beep for two. The next thing, that's pretty old tech compared to now, right? So, that's the evolution of cybersecurity. It's really based on the technology that we use on a daily basis in our organization. So, we talked about that, incident response, how to respond to incidents, because it's not if it happens, when it happens. The gentleman gave a good analogy that, there's going to be a crash on the highway, right? There's going to be more dishes to wash. It's not, this is just when is it going to happen? So reducing that risk. Another lady was talking about the cost of incidents. So that was pretty interesting. My buddy Daniel Cazio was here. He's local to Harrisburg. He presented on identity and access management, because that's really important, right? We're all logging in, username, password, hopefully multi-factor. But there's a saying nowadays that hackers aren't hacking and they're logging in because they're stealing your credentials, right? So we talked a bit about that as well. But yeah, there's just so many different great talks that happened today, and in the spirit of things, as I mentioned early on, we're for the community, by the community, what we discuss, the conversations that we have, the insights that are shared, or for us to be better equipped in order to combat against these adversaries, because at the end of the day, Clee, we are under serious attack. It's cyber warfare going on. It's not about guns and bombs too much anymore. It's about cyber warfare, bringing down critical infrastructure such as water, electricity grids, financial, healthcare. And that's why cybersecurity is super important, more so than ever before.
Thank you for touching on that. And being that this is like a first responder and law enforcement platform, can you elaborate on how this can help? How can this be implemented in those capacities to better forge for a more positive outcome on both sides?
Yeah, great question. I work a lot with public safety for the city of Philly. So, shout out to everybody in that sector. I mean, clearly it's important. I gave an analogy earlier, you don't want to wait till your house is burning down to make it to know your neighbor. Same thing with the police departments, your fire, your EMT. All of those services are critical to any, local, state, federal. So, as far as cybersecurity is concerned, we need to make sure that the tools that they need in order to do their job are up and running. It's all about confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, confidential, we need to make sure that your comms are confidential, for instance. Integrity, that they're actually accurate, right? Or the data that you're getting across your wire. Maybe you pull somebody over, it says they have a warrant and they don't. Your cars are getting towed, nobody knows where they're at. Or there's some, sheets on people that might not be accurate. So accuracy is very important. And availability. So a gentleman was talking about attack on 911. So if 911 is down, what are you going to do? Yeah. Revert back to paper processes. I mean, obviously the service still needs to be up and running, but there is some time between that involved, right? So availability. So the fire department usually are running on a little bit older tech, but how are they operating as far as notifications and responding and all that? So technology is very, very important for our public safety, and having cybersecurity professionals that are able to ensure that they're not down because of a cyber attack, because there's a difference between, outages for a cyber attack versus outages because IT itself is outdated or so forth. So, and also public safety has responsibilities to the federal government, Department of Justice, when it comes to data integrity, as well as CJIS, governance requirements. So, I work a lot with the police and prisons to ensure that the data is being not just safeguarded, but also meets the compliance requirement for the federal government. So, at the end of the day, we're all trying to do a great job, especially the city. We all love what we do. And so my team, my cybersecurity team, we're here to help everybody, but certainly public safety is very high on the list because that's definitely a needed service that we provide, and those relationships are important, that we're able to respond and understand what's going on so we can provide the best input.
Thank you, Jess. I appreciate it. In conclusion, is there anything that you want to leave us with?
Yeah, come to BSides Harrisburg next year, 2026.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
And there you have it, folks. Hopefully that gives you a little insight, gives you kind of, if it doesn't jog your brain a little bit, gives you something to think about. It gives you something to look forward to. Gets you a different on a thinking playing field of different aspects like that. There's a lot of good information out there. Again, might want to check where you're at, local conferences, local information. There's tons of information. It's kind of like you go down the rabbit hole of information. Make sure you guys check that out if you're looking for just a different angle or something to do that's still involving investigations and making a difference, because this is $1 billion criminal industry that they're only getting more advanced, and it's rising over and over again. So therefore, the investigative process, the want to catch the bad guy process for you first responders, or just educating yourself and wanting to know something, certain trends or things to look out for, that's always important. So there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you tag, like, and share. This is the podcast Black and Blue that comes on just for you Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we go live and we talk about where we're live with first responders or law enforcement officers talking about trainings, experiences, or publications, and we're not falling short here. We're going to go live again next week. Got a special guest coming in, or got a special report coming in, but I'm not going to tell you what it is so I can keep you on the edge of your seat so you guys can come in next week. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Coach Clee, your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, your favorite baker's favorite baker, Ecclesiastes Crime Code 302, the coldest code switching detective, continuing law enforcement, entertainment, and edutainment. Signing out 10-4, over and out. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you guys next week.
Sergeant BSafe is inviting you to watch this exciting and fun podcast, Black and Blue. It airs weekly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's just for you. When we go live with a dynamic law enforcement officer or first responder, whether they're rookie, seasoned, or retiree. We talk about their trainings, experiences, and their publications. We've had tremendous guests already, and we have many, many more tremendous guests coming down the pipeline. You want to subscribe.
Sergeant BSafe is here.
Black and Blue is on various podcasts, especially on YouTube, so make sure you guys subscribe. And don't forget about me, Sergeant BSafe. I have my own channel too, so make sure you subscribe to that as well. We have many adventures, learning experiences, and we have fun while we do it. You guys don't want to miss it. Not only with the special guest that's being featured, you'll see video skits of me and the bad guys, Rob You Blind, Misdemeanor, Treacherous Tony, Chance Wilder, aka Wild Chance, and Sapphire Steel. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Just the facts, ma'am.
I'm not a bad cop.
I never once said you were. It would be real simple if the problem was bad cops. It ain't.